Good morning, everyone. Wanted to talk about this topic again, and I'm just going to be straight with you. Maybe you're not meant to forgive and forget. So whatever forgive means to you, right? So forgive has a lot of different meanings for people. And the reality is that you're not going to forget that betrayal. So the forgetting part, forget about that, right? If I could use hypnosis to help people forget the betrayal, then I would be probably a millionaire right now. You're not going to forget it because it was felt on all levels of your being, right? The betrayal is held in your body, in your mind, in your emotions, in your spirit. It's a part of you now. And the forgiving part, so here's the thing. Depending on how you define forgive, maybe you can forgive them, but what does that look like? For me, forgiveness would come more easily if the other person was owning their part, working on themselves to figure out where it went wrong, like what took them down that road specifically. Because, there's lots of different reasons why people cheat, right? And we can use lots of different excuses and justifiers for why it happens. But really deep down, the cheating was the symptom of something deeper. And until the person's able to do that work to really understand that deeper meaning, chances are they haven't healed that part of themselves enough for their partner to know for sure that this isn't going to happen again, right? So that's another reason why you can't forget. A lot of times you can't forget because nothing else has changed in your relationship that would assure you that it's not going to happen again, or not enough things have changed, right? So, and the reality is that people do use cheating to get out of a relationship, whether that's because of, fears and abuse and whatnot, or it's just to them an easy out rather than sort of, being real and being truthful, owning their part, not being willing to just step up and say, hey, this isn't working and I'm unhappy and I don't think we should be together. People will cheat often to sort of, give themselves an out without actually having to do the work, right? To disentangle themselves in a much more healthy way, or to stay and do the work to fix the relationship, right? Because that just seems harder maybe, consciously or subconsciously to them, right? And, it's easy to, from the outside of a relationship, looking in on other people who are going through these types of betrayal trauma and give suggestions one way or another, right? Oh, you should just leave them. I see that so much in group chats and whatnot. And then the other, side, no, you need to stay and work and forgive them and all of that, both sides are true because it depends on every individual relationship. It's going to be different. The answer for you, and this is why I have a problem with people getting on Facebook groups and saying, what should I do? Should I stay? Should I forgive them? Or, asking for advice from complete strangers who have no idea what the dynamics of the relationship are and what that other individual is doing one way or another, whether they're doing any kind of work or not. It's just, for some people, the answer is always going to be like, no, just leave them. But that's not that's not the whole answer. And we know this because people do stay in relationships where there's been the betrayal. But why do they stay or how do they stay is really what's most important, right? And only you can know the answer to the why you stay and how you stay, right? And it, like I said, it's going to be different for every couple. So I never ever would take on the role of advising someone to leave their spouse or not, unless there was sure signs of abuse, or like unless I felt like there was, you know, real dangers in the relationship, psychologically or physically. You know, like in those cases, you know, obviously, you know, most people would just be like, no, you need to get out of this situation. Other times it's not so cut and dry, right? Because we're human beings and we make mistakes. But the difference between someone making a mistake and owning it and really doing the work to understand how they got there, and someone who's just going to be like, you need to just forgive me for this, and you need to forget so we can move on. That's not realistic. It's not helpful. It's not healthy. And, you know, long term, that's not a strategy that's going to work. So that's my thoughts on, you know, what would I say to someone who asks me, you know, how do I forget? How do I forgive and forget? The short answer is you don't. The longer answer is, how do you heal from this? How does your relationship heal from this? What work are you doing? What work are they doing individually? And then what are you willing to do together to fix this? And if the answers to those questions are all one-sided, like I'm doing this to try to save the marriage, or I'm, you know, in therapy because, you know, I want to, you know, heal the hurt that was, you know, done to me, you know, obviously I'm going to promote that to the fullest, but it can't just be you. And it certainly shouldn't be you if you were the one who was betrayed to do all the work. That's just my thought on that. So curious what you think. Would love to, you know, get some feedback. Does this help? Does it resonate with you? How does it make you feel when I talk about this? Maybe you have different ideas of forgiveness. Maybe it's tied to maybe your religious beliefs or whatever. Like, I'm curious to, like, what does forgiveness mean to you in the context of forgiving this, you know, sort of betrayal? And have you been able to forgive? And if you've been able to forget, I really want to hear from you, because, you know, yeah, that would be interesting to hear. Because I really just don't think that's possible. Because we have memories. Like, we're just not going to zap it out of our brains. We're not going to just be able to erase it with an eraser, right? Like, that's just, life doesn't work that way. So, but I'd be curious what your thoughts are on this, and I hope you have a great rest of your day. Namaste.